Hello, what's up? Happy Tuesday. Happy August 1st. And happy wedding month to me and my fiance, Kiana. It's coming up quick and it is like crunch time, go mode. It's go time. All the things that we've been kind of procrastinating, whatever, not doing, it is time to get those done, get decisions made, fill out all these questionnaires from vendors, and no more procrastinating. I also just got back from my bachelorette party, which was fun, mostly, for the most part. Do you ever have those times when you are out partying or just having fun, maybe more fun than you normally would, and then shit happens? Yeah, shit happened this weekend. Mostly my sister's phone going overboard. I have never driven a pontoon before, so I should not have even put myself in that seat. But my little sister was driving it for a little bit, and then I was like, you know what, I want to do that. So I did, and I put the handle or whatever all the way. And so then we just like, bam, went forward, and my sister's phone went overboard, but I'm so it like kind of gives me anxiety because like it could have been so much worse. It could have she could have gotten overboard. She could have gotten injured. Someone could have got hurt. Like, oh my God, just thinking about it makes me cringe, and it's like hard to think about, and I'm trying to forget about it. And by the way, we went to Pactola Lake out in the hills, South Dakota. If you've never been, I highly recommend because it was beautiful. So pretty. It's a big lake, and then it's just like hills and mountains all around. And oh my gosh, it was so pretty just to look around. And apparently there's a city under the lake, which like blew my damn mind. I don't know. I was going to look it up. I don't know like how water got there. I don't know what happened. All I know is that I guess there's a city under Pactola Lake, which is kind of creepy and crazy and wild. And oddly enough, I don't know what the odds of this are, but we actually met up with people that not that we knew, but that there's so many mutual friends and connections through high school, through me and my sister's high school that we went to in Vermilion. And they actually were having a 30th birthday party, and they saw us and actually asked us if we wanted to tie off. And so with them, so we did. And then just all hung out and partied and laid in the tubes in the lake and jumped off the top of the boat that they had. And it was a lot of fun, but just kind of crazy that we ended up finding out that one of the guys' best friends, who was a best man, we went to high school with them, and they knew so many people that we knew. And anyways, just kind of wild how that played out and how that all worked out. And it's just a small world. We did have a lot of fun, a lot of dancing, a lot of drinking. I normally don't drink too often. I like my wine. I'll have some seltzers on the weekends. I definitely am not your alcohol-free wellness coach, okay? I'm definitely just not like that. And I feel like I'm kind of just rambling on here, but I think it's important for me to not show only the parts of me that are health conscious and choose healthier foods and work out and share anything that I learn around health and fitness, or anything that I do with my clients, or teach my clients, or whatever it is I want to teach about diet culture and nutrition and fitness and all of those things, mindset. But I think it's important to not hide the fact that I have some drinks every now and then. I like to party every now and then. So that's that. I am who I am. This is where I'm at this time in my life. I'm having fun, living life, and yes, a health conscious human, but also a loves to party type of person. By the way, if you're having a bachelorette party or bachelor party, have your friends and anyone that's in that party put your Venmo on social media and be like, buy the bride a drink, bride to be a drink, buy the groom to be, whoever it is, buy them a drink. And I think you'd be surprised at who and how many people send you money, which is super awesome and fun and appreciated. All right, the other thing I wanted to tell you was I finally got those dough donuts. Finally. So they have dough, like healthier cookie dough, but also one of their newer products is donuts and like little donut holes. And I got the glazed, classic glaze, and the chocolate glaze. And those are the only two flavors, I believe, right now. Do they taste like normal donut holes? Probably not, no, just because a normal donut hole is like fried, very, greasy and delicious. And these are, again, a little bit more on the health conscious side, thinking about the ingredients. They add some things in there for like a focus and energy blend. Like, so these have B12 and L-theanine, but most importantly, they still taste amazing. So good. The chocolate one is like, I feel like I've had something that tastes like this before and I can't think of it. Maybe it's just like a fudgy brownie or just chocolatey, fudgy. So good. And then the glazed one also is very, very good. Highly recommend. So if you've had their cookie dough, definitely recommend you try their donuts. They are smaller, so you can just pop one whole one in your mouth probably. I like to just have a couple bites and enjoy it, but you can take them as a snack on the go. If you want something sweet, maybe if you want a little snack at night or in the morning or whatever it is. I love that this company is also all women owned, and I love that I can provide for you a 10% discount on your entire order. So if you would like to try these babies, go to www.eatdough.com/discount/Sophia10. So that's www.eatdeux.com/discount/SOPHIA10. Or if you're browsing around their website, just make sure to put the code Sophia10, SOPHIA10, at checkout for 10% off your entire order. And supporting this show, supporting me, because financially, I don't make money from this podcast. Like, I will sometimes throw in that I am coaching and taking on clients, which, by the way, I am. But other than that, like, I don't make any money from this. It takes a lot of time, but I love doing it. I love sharing, and I just love putting my voice out there for whoever will listen. So you get a discount. You help support me in the show, and you get to try some amazing, healthier type of snacks, which, like I always say, you don't have to get healthier. I always talk about just eating the damn cookie or eating the ice cream, whatever. You don't have to buy healthier stuff, but sometimes you want to be a little more health conscious. You want to, and I want to, look at the ingredients, see what's in there, try and be more conscious of the ingredients and of things that I'm buying and eating and providing to my body. I'm laughing because I just drank a lot of alcohol this weekend, which is not health conscious at all, but you get the gist, you know what I mean. So if you do try it, I would love to know what kind of cookie dough you get, what kind of donuts you get, if you like them, and give me your feedback. I would love to share that. That's that. Now, what am I going to talk about today? Well, this is for the person that is wondering, should I start tracking food? And if so, where do I start? I'm going to share with you some things that I have learned in my experience in working with clients, what I feel like works, what doesn't work, and I'm just kind of speaking from the heart and from my mind and whatever comes, because I had a client ask me, like on her check-in sheet, asked about if she should start tracking. And I'm going to tell you what I told her, but then I'm going to include some other things too that are just coming to my mind. If someone's asking me this right now, what would I say? So number one, this person, we just started working together like 3-ish weeks ago, probably 3 to 4 weeks ago. And she has tracked a little bit in the past, but not really. And she doesn't really know how to track or what to do. Anytime she has done tracking and she puts it into, like, let's say MyFitnessPal and gets what the amount of calories and food and macros that she should be eating, it's way under, which is normal because number one, it's not individualized. Number two, anytime you put the goal of you want to lose weight, that calculator, whatever it is going to put you at a calorie deficit, which in order to lose weight, lose body fat, yes, you have to be at a calorie deficit. So I told her, like, that's probably honestly accurate for you or close to it. However, the problem is that people have been trying to hit that for years and chronically under eating, chronically trying to be in a calorie deficit and not eating enough food, not getting enough nutrients for their body. And then that's when people get stuck. And then all of the issues come up where you say, well, I'm working out more and eating less and nothing's happening. So if you do go by a calculator, or if you go by whatever MyFitnessPal says or an app, just remember and ask yourself, how many times have I done this before in the past? How many times have I tried to lose weight and I put in my goal is to lose weight, goal is to lose body fat, and then it's under 2,000 calories. Like, I saw someone actually once say that a child needs like either about that or less than that. I don't know, but it's like, you're not a child anymore. You're an adult. You're a grown ass adult. You need food. You need the nutrients. Now, it's probably the type of nutrients that maybe we need to change up. And this, okay, so pause from what I'm talking about here because I'm going to go into something else, a little tangent, not a tangent, but something that I saw. Someone sent me a video this weekend, and this was a TikTok video, and he was showing the kind of difference of like, okay, so we have an omelet. And a lot of times people want to lose weight, they want to lose body fat, so they reduce their portions. And he was talking about how you shouldn't necessarily think about it as reducing your portions and making it smaller, because let's say there's an egg omelet and he's using 2 eggs and that's it, versus another egg omelet where he uses 1 whole egg and then like 5 egg whites, and he goes into like egg yolks and whites, and like that the egg yolks are totally like healthy, fine to eat, but we're trying to create more volume with food to help like fill you up. Okay, so then that second egg also, like he added a bunch of vegetables and a bunch like other things to it to create more volume, but not necessarily add a whole bunch of I'm gonna say calories, but like a whole bunch of other foods to make it more calorie dense, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So then both eggs probably had about the same amount of overall calories, but that second egg had more volume, had more nutrients. So stop trying to reduce your portions and look at what it is that you're eating. What is it that you're eating? The nutrients, all of that. Okay, so rewind back to what I was talking about. Again, this person hadn't really tracked before, and she like knew that it was too low of calories for her. Like, she should not be eating that from whatever the app said. So I was like, props to you. That's great. And I told her, like, at this time, I want us to not focus on tracking right away, because and she did a food journal for like 5-6 days, showed me what she typically eats, things like that. And so I made adjustments from there and was like, here's where we can improve this. Here's what I want you to focus on this week. And what I'm doing is trying to get her to be more aware of the food choices, and to be more aware of like choosing a protein source and building your plate off of that, choosing more whole foods, more fruit and vegetables, like that more mentality of those types of foods. And that's where we're working first. I first want us to work on the types of foods, the types of nutrients that she's getting, get super consistent with that, make it so that she feels good about that, and not start with tracking numbers and calories and macros and making it overwhelming or something that is a little bit too much right away. And she was on board with that. I was like, that feels good. It feels very doable, and it's not confusing. And so then eventually my goal with her is to, yes, start tracking so that she can kind of see that awareness behind her food. And I will say that she has a really good relationship with food, which I think is very important. And knowing that moving forward, that is important for me to know, because once we do get into tracking, I know that she will be in a place where that's okay to track and it's okay to go into that. So, like I said, eventually we will go into that, and we're probably not even going to do like protein, fat, and carbs right away. We're probably just going to focus on tracking protein first, see where we're at, and then slowly add and build from that. And this first week that she did that, super solid, had a great week. She did her meal plan. She sent it to me. She implemented more of the things that we talked about, like the more protein, a little bit more vegetables. And so when she had that question as to if she should start tracking, I told her that for another week at least, and honestly, maybe even a couple more weeks, I want her to continue what she's doing and focus on the types of foods she's eating, the choices she's making, having more awareness around choosing a protein source and building off of that, having more fruit and vegetables, like the whole foods aspect of it, like focusing on that first for another week or so, getting consistent with that, making that more of a habit and more of routine, and then we can go into tracking. So I want you to think about where you are at right now as far as, have you tracked before, and what's that been like for you? What's been your experience? Do you like it? Do you not like it? How does it make you feel? Is it stressful? Do you know how to find how much macros and things you should eat? Do you know where and what your quote maintenance is? Are you there yet? Are you not there yet? And you can ask yourself, how am I eating currently? Like, what types of foods am I eating? Am I not eating? Am I only eating once a day? Am I eating a good amount of protein? Am I eating a lot of fruit and vegetables? Am I eating a whole lot of fast food? Am I going out to eat a lot? What types of nutrients am I getting? Are they whole foods? Are they not? And if you are like this client where you take that intake of what your food is like on a typical day for about a week, and you don't see a whole lot of nutrients. And when I say nutrients, I mean like those whole foods, protein, fruit, vegetables, carbs. And if you're not in a place where you see those foods on that list, start there. Start with choosing to have more protein first. Or maybe it's more fruit and vegetables. Or maybe the goal is whole foods overall. And maybe you've never meal planned before, and you start with creating that meal plan for maybe one meal out of your day, you meal prep, or maybe it's all of your meals. But again, you're focusing on those whole foods and getting an abundant amount of those nutrients before you go into tracking. And I mean, do this for like a solid month and see how it goes, maybe even 2 months. And then I would say, once you feel like you're in a place where you've been getting more of those nutrients, start to track. I would encourage you to only start with your protein and see where you're at with protein. And I also think it's important to not get wrapped up in seeing everyone tracking, like maybe you're on social media and you see people tracking their macros day in and day out, and then you think, oh, I should do that, or I need to do that. Like, just zoom out from all of that and focus in on you and what is going to work best for you at this time. And that can change over time, but like I said, don't get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing that you feel like you then need to do that or that you should do that. But then on the flip side, maybe you have tracked in the past and you love it. You need that accountability. You like to have more of that awareness around food and how much of different of those macros that you're eating. And that's okay too. And by the way, if you're confused on what macros are, I did an episode on macros specifically. I will link that in the show notes as well, because I'm not going to get into those too much in this episode. I will say that for protein, if you decide that you want to start tracking your protein, a good goal to aim for would be 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And don't start with 1. That's a good goal to aim for and work towards. But if you don't really have a whole lot of protein day to day, a good goal to aim for would be anywhere from 0.5 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 130 pounds, take 0.5 times 130, and then bam, that's your goal for the day. Another goal to shoot for that you could aim for is about 30 grams of protein for each meal. Now, I mentioned tracking via an app, but another way that you could track is through food logging, food journaling. Maybe you write it down, because then you can also get more awareness around what you're eating and the types of foods you're eating, which is what I had this client do. And I love having people do that right away in the beginning, whether it's tracking through an app if they are in that spot where that's what they want to do and they are ready for that, but also food journaling, writing things down, getting that intake and seeing on paper what you're eating can be very helpful as well. So here are some signs that tracking food and macros might not be right for you yet. Emphasis on yet, because that can change. It changed for me. So number 1, if you have had previous eating disorders that you're aware of, and tracking food triggers old eating behaviors. Number 2, you avoid certain foods or tell yourself that you can't have certain foods because they are, quote, bad. So if you avoid certain foods, if you're restricting certain foods or certain food groups, you are not in a place where, in my opinion, you should be tracking. Number 3, you are or become obsessed with hitting macro goals. I think you can have a super dedication and excitement towards hitting macros, but when it becomes obsessive and then you go back into different eating behaviors, maybe through an eating disorder, or your eating becomes disordered in some way, then that can result in, I think, some unhealthy eating behaviors that way. Number 4, eating healthy is only a means to an end rather than nourishment. So when eating healthy is only because you are trying to lose weight, it's only because you're trying to lose body fat, in my opinion, you might not be ready for that. And everyone is so different. This is not just a one size fits all approach. This is not just focused on one certain person, but this is just from my experience and working with other people. Eating healthy should be a celebration of your body and what it can do and of the things that it provides you day to day and how it makes you feel day to day. And it doesn't mean that you can't have that goal of wanting to lose body fat, but I think that it's important to also look at it as eating healthy gives me the ability to do blank, whatever that is. Play with your kids, play with nieces and nephews, go hiking, experience life, live life fuller, thrive in life and in day-to-day things. And I also want to note that tracking food and macros can be a great way to improve your relationship with food and to not restrict or avoid certain foods. But everyone is different and only you can decide what's best for you. I will say that at one point in my life, tracking was definitely not the way for me to go. I had to focus on my relationship with food first, my relationship with my body and with myself before I went into that. And the time that I did go into that, it did help. I was in a place where I really truly felt like it would be helpful. And I wanted to have more awareness behind how much protein I was eating, how much carbs, how much fat. And it was fun for me to experiment and try that. And that did help me see that, okay, not only can I be more flexible with my food choices, I don't have to be restrictive. I don't have to avoid foods. I don't have to have these food rules. So I think there can be a good balance between tracking loosely, having different, experimenting with different things, and again, deciding what's going to be best for you. Tracking food, whether it's through an app or that food journal, can provide an increased awareness. It can help provide a better understanding of your current eating habits. It can provide a better understanding of what you're eating, how much you're eating, how nutrient dense your food is. It can help you to hold you accountable. It can help balance your total food intake, your total calories and macros throughout the day. It can help provide food flexibility. It can help increase mindfulness around foods. And it can help you improve your relationship with food. But also, I believe all of these can be true, even if you're not tracking, and if tracking is where you're just not ready for it yet. There's still ways that you can work on all of these things without tracking. And you shouldn't have to track macros for the rest of your life. Once you're consistently hitting your goals, or you have reached a big goal, or maybe you have that more awareness around food and that was your goal and you come back to that every now and then, it's okay to become relaxed with it and have a piece of intuitive eating and then jump back and forth between not tracking and then tracking to see where you're at, have that awareness. And of course, this depends on everyone's specific goals and needs, but it should never feel stressful or daunting or overwhelming. And then lastly, if you do decide to focus a little bit more on intuitive eating allows you to listen to your body. It takes the focus off of needing to reach certain numbers, and it's a great starting point if you want and need to work on your relationship with food and your body. And this is where I started. This was the place that I started. It helped me to place a focus on my internal thoughts around my food, around my body, and allowing any and all foods with zero restriction or labels of good and bad foods. Sometimes I have clients focus on, for a few weeks, eating food that makes them feel good. They can reflect on things that they eat or choose not to eat. They can get a better sense of how they feel with different foods. And so I think having a good mix of this is important and very helpful. So I talked about a lot. I talked about kind of went back and forth between some things, but I hope that it kind of helped you in deciding whether or not you are ready to track, if you should track, if you shouldn't track, maybe giving you some validation for not tracking when everyone else around you is tracking, giving you a starting point, giving you some direction on maybe when to start tracking or to start tracking, to try to start tracking, to experiment with that. If you ever need some guidance, if you ever have questions around anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I also have a free community and group on Facebook called the Food Freedom and Muscle Building Solutions group, and I will link that in the show notes if you would like to hop in there, see what that's all about. I like to talk about and post things that help people shift away from diet culture and from food restriction, but then also things that they can do to help build muscle and help live life and live in a way that supports their goals, but also without feeling restricted and held back mentally and physically. So again, I will link that in the show notes, and you can also feel free to message me on Facebook or Instagram at SophiaDawn41. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Whether you've been here since day 1, year 2, you've been here the last week, and that's it. I appreciate you. I love you. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, week, weekend. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Flow with the Grow. I'll see you next week for your daily dose of positivity and growth.